Hello everyone and welcome back to another Destiny 2 discussion video. Cut. Today we're here to talk about the painful yet necessary cycle of Destiny 2. Now you may be thinking, cycle, what do you mean by that? Cut. Well, it's somewhat cut and dry. We're going to put the beginning of the cycle at the release of a new large expansion. Now, these large expansions, they used to come out around November, September, which is when Destiny originally released, a yearly thing. But now they come out around January, February, and they seem to be knocking them back a bit further each year. It'll be like a year and a month when Lightfall releases since the largest expansion, which was, of course, Witch Queen. Cut. And the fact that Bungie is taking more times to develop these larger expansions is a very nice thing because, it used to be like they would only take a little bit of a break and then immediately start production on the next large expansion. Now, we can assume with only a couple of months until the release of Lightfall that production is mostly done on Lightfall and they're into the final stages of the production. Lest we remember, though, that expansions like this are almost like releasing a whole new game, not to mention live updates and whatnot as well. So thus, we run into the cycle of Destiny, which begins again at the release of a big expansion. Now, this usually lasts for a couple of months. Let's say with Lightfall, it'll last from February 28th until about April or May, which is when a new season will start, and the honeymoon phase will end with Lightfall, meaning that everyone's had their playthroughs of the campaign, the end game, the raid, all the loot has been had, or at least most of the loot has been had, and there's not much else to do in the game until the new season comes out. Now, there's a bit of a hangover in this period because people are burned out and Destiny might not be their favorite thing. So this is a period where people start to go and play other games, right? Because, a month or two of consistently playing Destiny will burn you out. And right after the first season, after a large expansion, the second season after that is when we enter a stage that has always been dubbed content drought. Because Bungie's mostly in production of a new expansion, right? Leaving just the live team to work on the game. Events like Festival of the Lost, Summer of Solstice, all that stuff is being released while Bungie is hard at work, at least most of Bungie is hard at work at creating a new expansion and working on updates, whether it be to subclasses, Crucible, Gambit, whatever, they're hard at work. Now, this is the most difficult the most difficult part of the cycle, because content creators like myself and many others don't have much to talk about when it comes to Destiny, right? And I think it's a blessing and a curse, right? And some people see the negative side because it's easy to milk content out of the negative. Oh, Bungie isn't doing enough. Where's XYZ? Bungie should be working on updates for Gambit. Bungie should be working on this. But they're trying to create a good expansion, good story, good stuff like that. Plus, Season 19 has a lot of Crucible updates, which is something that the community has wanted for a very, very long time now. We're going to have to wait until, obviously, the update comes out to gauge just how successful that was. But downtime from Destiny is good. And even though, as of this video, right, December 4th, only have a couple days until the release of the new season, any downtime you get from Destiny is good. Believe me. And the bright side about this content drought, it's really plain and simple. It almost always picks back up, right? With the season before a large release or during that large release, you go from almost not playing Destiny, let's say 5 hours a week, right, to playing 5 hours like every other day, right? Because there's so much to do, and you know, Destiny essentially becomes the only game you play when a large expansion comes out, because again, it's like having a whole new game to experience. So that's why it's really important during these content droughts to step back from a game like Destiny, play other games, and thus enhance your experience when you come back. So, I mean, I've just seen this cycle so many times, so many years, right, since the original release of Destiny, and that was probably the worst release in Destiny, right? The original campaign was absolute dog water because it was rushed, and the raid Vault of Glass was okay, because, well, okay, looking back on it, hindsight, you're like, oh yeah, it's probably like one of the worst raids just because it wasn't optimized, but for its time, right, obviously it achieved a lot. So is it still a good raid? Sure. Has it lasted through the test of time? Not really. I think Valve Disciple, obviously, some of the other raids put it to sleep like really well. Speaking of which, I am thinking about doing a raid tier list, or a raid like top 5 raids. It definitely would be exciting, but anyways, I'm getting off topic here. So, you know, this cycle will continue. I think it's really hard for Bungie not to have this cycle anyways, because you have to have development for your next large expansion. And you kind of have to think of it like producing a TV show, right? Because TV shows have hiatus, or hiatus is, I don't know what the plural of that is, excuse me if I got it wrong, but they have pauses in releasing new episodes because, you know, they have to film, they have to do production, they have to go and promote the new season, and Bungie has to do that as well with their large expansions, which are basically like movies, right? And the seasons are the television show that lead up to the new movie. That's like the best analogy I can think of. So the cycle, although it is painful and slow and at times very trying, in the end it's worth it. Let me know what you guys think about this cycle. What is your favorite part of the cycle? Mine is always the lead up to the large expansion and during that, because you meet so many new people, you go through these fun experiences like going through a dungeon or a raid blind with your friends, a bunch of new loot, new story, new subclasses. I mean, it really is the best time to play Destiny is during a large release like Lightfall or Witch Queen. So yeah, also subscribe if you haven't already. A lot of people who watch my videos, you are not subscribed, so I would appreciate if you could do that. And I'll see you guys in the next discussion video. Peace out.